And welcome to EVTN News. And you can see I have a slightly different look today. It's a Pittsburgh Pirates hat, and if you think it's difficult being a Pittsburgh sports fan, of course, all the Pittsburgh sports teams are kind of sorry at this point. Uh, it's pretty sad. Um, I guess I won't talk too much about that, but if you think it's very difficult being a Pittsburgh sports fan, which it kind of is, try being a fan of the Latin Mass. It's even more difficult. We keep losing. All right. So yeah, I hope Kansas City Royals fan shows up because I definitely like to have that conversation. But for now, I'll just keep my underdog hat on and well, just like we're underdogs in the Latin Mass. Let's start out here, as I have some stories to talk about, and then as I was browsing the news right before this show, I found like at least three additional stories I wanted to talk about. So I'm just going to kind of try to blitz through some of these stories here um, as soon as I can pull up my notes. That was very interesting. My notes just shut off on me real quick. Okay. The Archdiocese of Salzburg, Austria held a training event titled LMNOP People in Our Parishes with two pro-LMNOP activist groups. The event's goal was, based on the personal approach to the topic, to reflect on the theological approach and the canonical framework and discuss concrete options for action. Two of the five speakers at the event were members of the pro-LMNOP activist group HOSI Salzburg. So, yes, coming to Washington Archdiocese near you. Yeah, because McElroy's into that stuff. All right. So, I would like to think that there would be a pope who would crack down on this stuff, but let's take a look at what happened recently, and we'll see. Okay, moving on. In the United States, St. Joseph's Church in Hammond, Indiana, just across the Illinois border from where the new pope grew up in Dolton, originally was set to host an Institute of Christ the King community prior to 2019. Under then Bishop Donald Hying, the Institute offered Sunday and weekday masses while the parish continued Novus Ordo masses. However, the aging community in place complained to the National Catholic Distorter and succeeded in getting a hit piece published there in 2019. The backlash led to Bishop Hying reducing the Institute's mass schedule to Sundays and holy days. The Institute paid $800 in rent per week to the parish. That meant an otherwise failing parish was suddenly receiving over $40,000 a year thanks to the Latin Mass presence. At the end of 2022, partially due to the animosity from the parishioners as well as the dictates of Traditionis Custodes, Bishop Robert McClory moved the Latin Mass to a different parish, where it has been ever since. It's Our Lady of Czestochowa and Merrillville. And on Sunday, May 11th, the parish officially announced it would be closing sometime in 2026, following a series of discussions with other churches in the area over how to address demographic changes and declining number of priests. So this is the classic case of you get what you ask for. So these parish Karens ran off the Latin Mass community, and this is what you get. But it also shows how difficult it is to manage a dual rite parish. Now, there are parishes where the Latin Mass community and the Novus Ordo community get along fairly well. I mean, I think at least if you can respect each other and be on speaking terms, that's a win. but there's a lot of places where they really don't like each other. At least the Novus Ordo community doesn't like the Latin Mass community. And, you know, um, and then you get what you ask for again. So, all right. Moving to politics. I don't talk too much about politics, but President Trump on Thursday named San Francisco Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone to serve on the advisory board of the newly created Religious Liberty Commission. So he'll work with the nutcase, what's her name, Paula White. She's very strange, a very strange woman. Yes, but I think she's the head of that committee. But also on the committee are Bishop Barron and Cardinal Dolan. But any association with Trump will get you sent to the what would you call it? It's a one-way ticket to hostility in the synodal church. So that's, I mean, that's positive, even though they're probably not going to make a substantial difference, and the religious liberty itself is actually an error. So, yeah, but in the United States, though, it's nice. It basically means we're not going to have Sharia law. I think that's what the religious liberty is supposed to be. But they also named a Mohammedan to the Religious Liberty Commission who's very much in favor of that. So kind of interesting. Definitely going to get. Well, I guess you're going to get different perspectives, and they're not going to find common ground. So that's what it is. All right. Today, Archbishop, I guess it would have been Saturday, I think. Auxiliary Bishop Lawrence Sullivan, Vicar General of the Archdiocese of Chicago, ordained two priests. One is Christian Garcia, who is from Chicago, while Kevin Menard belongs to the Canons Regular St. John Cantius, also in Chicago, where the priests say the Latin Mass, but not exclusively. But they are a religious order, and so he's going to serve the St. John Cantius, and if they have any satellite parishes, he'll serve either their main parish or one of the other parishes that they serve. So there's one man that is ordained for specifically for the Archdiocese of Chicago this year. So congratulations. But in February, Supich ordained 5 auxiliary bishops. So he's making bishops but not priests. Sounds like a top-heavy approach, but see how that works for you. Although Supich is over age 75, I believe. And so he could be replaced at any time. Not that he will be. Okay. So today, Pope Leo appointed Cardinal Baldassare Reina, age 54, as the new Grand Chancellor of the Pontifical Lateran University and Grand Chancellor of the Pontifical Theological Institute of John Paul II for Marriage and the Family. Reina replaces Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, age 80, who is known for commissioning an artist to paint a LMNOP mural in his cathedral. In 2022, Paglia said he believed that one day a pope would write an encyclical promoting contraception, which isn't that far off from what has been happening the last several years. In 2024, Cardinal Reina, who was just recently appointed, was reportedly accused by a former seminary and now an LMNOP activist of forcing him to undergo conversion therapy to cure him of his LMNOP mentality, which is actually kind of based. And the previous bishop, previous Archbishop Paglia was the one who reshaped the Pontifical Academy for Life into the Pontifical Academy for Death. So the new guy looks like maybe a somewhat of a welcome change, I guess. Okay. So I usually have my show notes in the description, and so far all the links have been in there, but I'm going to Gloria TV's website, and there are several stories that were late breaking that I wanted to cover today. So the links will not be there, but you can find them all at Gloria TV. So the first article is titled Draconian Measures for Chartres Pilgrimage Novus Ordo for the Confession. So the Chartres pilgrimage, I'm probably not saying that correctly, but that's a Latin Mass pilgrimage. I believe it goes through France. I don't know if it goes to Rome or not. But anyway, Cardinal Roche basically restricted some of the stuff that can go on. The Archbishop of France, or Archbishop of Tours, Archbishop of Rouen, they kind of endorse restrictions, I guess. But Cardinal Roche, he basically applied Traditionis Custodes that said that priests must ask permission from the bishop of each diocese crossed along the way. So as they're moving along, they have to receive permission to say the Latin Mass in each place from the bishop. Of course, if you're SSPX, you don't need that, and really, they shouldn't need that anyway if they're priests in good standing. Of course, they won't be if they say the Latin Mass. That's the only thing that gets you. That's the only thing that gets a black mark against you in the. Well, it's not the Francis Church anymore. But that was what got you in trouble in the Francis Church. And I mean, you could be a literal molester, and that wouldn't get you suspended. But Strickland got kicked out of his diocese for daring to question the errors of Francis. Okay. Also, priests ordained after July 2021 would have to have their bishop request permission to say the Mass. Let's see. Priests should use the new ritual for confessions of the pilgrims. At least that's what the directive said, but who's gonna rat them out? Okay. And I don't know what this actually means. It says all priests should be able to celebrate the Novus or the Novus Ordo during the pilgrimage, but I don't know if that means that they're pressured into doing it or being allowed to have access for it, but I don't know. Okay, so I talked about Pope Leo's first bishop appointment, first significant bishop appointment, and this is it. But time will tell if it's going to be a good one or not. But this is interesting because he met with Opus Dei last week. He met with the superior of Opus Dei, and he gave them the clear message: the reform ordered by Bergoglio in 2022 must be carried out as soon as possible, which kind of cracked them down a little bit. So he's just going to continue to crack down Opus Dei. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of Opus Dei. I think they're really creepy. And so I don't have a lot of sympathy. In fact, people speculate that John Paul II changed the canonization process so he could expedite the canonization of the founder of Opus Dei, Jose Maria Escriva. And just a lot of problematic things. They're Novus Ordo conservative. And we can all see where that's heading. It's heading towards a crackdown. So that's that. And that's kind of interesting. Okay, let me see. And then Leo. Oh, where's this at? Here it is. Okay, Pope Leo received schismatic Christians, pagans, and Jews in audience at the Apostolic Palace today. In his address, he thanked them politely for their presence and prayers. He believes that one of the strong points of Pope Francis's pontificate has been universal brotherhood. He claimed that synodality and ecumenism are closely related. He said, I intend to continue Pope Francis' commitment to promoting the synodal character of the Catholic Church and developing new, concrete forms of ever more intense synodality in the ecumenical field. Our common journey can and should be understood in a broad sense, including everyone, in the spirit of human brotherhood. And he quoted Francis's 2019 Abu Dhabi document praising his predecessor for promoting a culture of dialogue. So I feel like that's a good way to end this EVTN news. Not ending it on a good note, but ending it on a note. It's all there. Unfortunately, I'm reading his words, and I haven't seen a whole lot that is very encouraging, it's just disappointing. But at least he wears papal attire, right? I don't really know, but there will be a lot more bishop appointments coming up. I'll be here to bring you that information, and we'll see. I don't think he's going to go so far, based on what I've seen with this first major bishop appointment. I don't think he's going to be so radical as Francis was, but I don't expect to see any Stricklands in the near future. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I will discuss at some point. We'll see whenever I have a chance. I'll discuss bishop positions that are going to be open that are coming up at some point soon, I guess. I don't know what soon is relative, because how quickly he doesn't even have a secretary or a prefect for the dicastery for bishops yet. That's going to be one of his first major moves, I guess. I mean, he can appoint bishops. He has appointed bishops without someone running the dicastery for bishops, but I think he's, obviously he'd want to have someone fill that position, and that would probably expedite the process for appointing bishops. There's a backlog in the United States still, so I can talk about that hopefully at some point, and hopefully you guys will be able to see all of that. So, okay, until next time, this has been EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.